This is Global Ummah Unity, faith, history, and truth in one voice.
I appreciate this opportunity to discuss a simple question. If God truly exists, why can't we see him? Shouldn't something so important be directly observable?
Thank you. That question reflects a common assumption, that reality is limited to what we can see. But we don't see love, justice, or even gravity directly, yet we know they exist through their effects.
But gravity and love are measurable. God, by contrast, isn't measurable. That makes his existence highly questionable.
God is not a physical object within creation. Islam teaches that he is beyond space and time. The signs of his existence are evident in the order, balance, and beauty of the universe.
The universe is beautiful, but that doesn't prove a conscious creator. It could all be a cosmic accident, chaos that eventually formed structure.
If chaos produces structure, laws, and precision, wouldn't that be the greatest miracle? Design suggests a designer. The Quran repeatedly asks, did they come from nothing, or did they create themselves?
But isn't it convenient to say God did it whenever science has no answer? That seems like avoiding the hard work of discovery.
Not at all. Islam encourages science and discovery. Many early scientists were Muslim, but science explores the how, not the ultimate why.
Let me ask you, if God is real, why does he hide? Why not reveal himself to everyone at once?
Life is a test. If God forced belief, there would be no choice, no sincerity. The Quran says there is no compulsion in religion. Faith must be chosen, not imposed.
Sounds poetic, but wouldn't a truly loving God make his existence undeniable so people don't suffer in doubt or disbelief?
If everything were visible, where is the space for free will or trust? Even in human love, we don't force presence every second. We trust. God gives signs, not shackles.
All right, let me turn the table. You say God created everything. Who created God?
A fair question. But Islam teaches that God is eternal and uncreated, just like you believe energy or matter may be eternal. Why accept one thing eternal, but not the other?
Because matter is observable and testable.
And yet its origin remains unknown. The Big Bang had a beginning. Everything finite has a cause. Why exclude intelligence from the cause of all causes?
Now, let me ask you, if the universe came from nothing, how did nothing create laws, purpose, and life?
Well, maybe we don't know yet. Science is evolving. Exactly. Not knowing doesn't prove non-existence. Ignorance of a creator isn't proof of absence.
Still, religion has caused wars and divisions.
So has nationalism, money, and ideology. Should we abandon them too? The misuse of a thing doesn't disprove its truth. Now let me ask you, if life has no creator, what gives life meaning beyond survival?
Meaning is self-created. We make our own purpose.
Then one person's purpose could be to love and another's to kill. Is that acceptable?
That's where human law comes in.
And where do humans derive the concept of justice, if not from something higher than instinct or survival?
Maybe justice is just a social contract.
Then justice becomes relative. That's dangerous. Faith provides a constant moral anchor that societies desperately need.
I admit, some of your points challenge my assumptions. I still have doubts, but also new questions.
That's all Islam invites: to question sincerely, reflect deeply, and seek truth with an open heart. The journey matters.
Earlier, you claimed that purpose comes from God, but isn't it more liberating to create our own purpose?
Temporary freedom without direction can lead to chaos. A purpose that's rooted in eternal wisdom gives meaning that lasts beyond pleasure or pain.
But when people claim divine purpose, they often justify cruelty. Doesn't faith become dangerous then?
Any belief or tool can be misused. Islam doesn't call for blind obedience. It commands justice, even against oneself.
Why does God allow so much suffering if he's all-loving?
Suffering refines the soul. Pain awakens growth and reminds us of what truly matters. Even prophets suffered, not because God abandoned them, but to elevate them.
That sounds like a justification. A loving God should prevent needless harm.
And yet, we admire resilience, not comfort. Diamonds are made under pressure. What if this world is training, not the final reward?
Let's go back. If God exists, why are there so many religions? Which one is true?
Truth has always been one. Different prophets spoke to different people, but the core was always to worship the one God and live righteously. Islam is the preserved continuation of that message.
But how do you know Islam is preserved? Isn't that just belief?
The Quran is the only scripture memorized cover to cover by millions. Its original language, grammar, and context are intact for 1,400 years. That's not just belief, that's history.
Still, I can't accept something I can't see or measure.
Yet you trust in justice, love, and time. All invisible, but real. Why is God the only truth you demand to see before you believe?
Because religious belief changes people's lives, sometimes for the worse.
So do ideologies like capitalism or nationalism. The misuse of faith doesn't invalidate it, it exposes the need for sincerity and wisdom in practice.
Let me ask you now, what do you base your moral compass on? Empathy? Human experience? Social consensus?
Empathy varies. Societies disagree. Hitler thought he was right. Isn't it dangerous to float morality on shifting opinions?
But religion can be rigid and outdated.
Principles don't age, only trends do. Islam distinguishes eternal values from cultural practices.
Let's say God exists. Why does he need worship?
God doesn't need worship. We do. Worship purifies, centers, and humbles the ego. It aligns us with our true nature.
Then why punish those who don't believe?
Consequences exist in every system. Freedom doesn't remove responsibility. Islam teaches that guidance is offered to all. Rejection is a choice, not fate.
Is there any evidence that souls or the afterlife exist?
Near-death experiences, spiritual phenomena, and universal longing for transcendence suggest more than just biology. Even ancient cultures sensed the beyond. One last question. If everything came from randomness, how do you explain the human mind's ability to reason, reflect, and yearn for meaning?
I don't know. Maybe it's just evolutionary survival.
Or maybe we were created with intention for something greater than mere survival.
So, if Islam offers clarity, why do even some Muslims doubt or leave faith?
Doubt is part of the human journey. The Quran addresses it openly. Struggling with belief doesn't disprove truth. It often leads to deeper conviction.
But if God is all-powerful, couldn't he remove doubt entirely?
That would remove freedom. Growth comes through wrestling with truth. Faith isn't robotic obedience. It's a conscious, lived decision.
You mentioned divine purpose, but many people live morally lives without faith. Isn't that enough?
They may live morally, but without a higher anchor, meaning becomes temporary. Islam offers meaning that endures beyond death, not just during life.
You believe in heaven and hell. Isn't that emotional manipulation? Believe or suffer?
It's accountability, not coercion. Every system has consequences. Islam balances mercy and justice with unmatched precision.
Still, I find it hard to surrender to something unseen.
True surrender isn't weakness, it's awareness. We surrender daily to time, aging, and death. Why resist surrendering to the one who created it all?
I admire the coherence in your answers. I disagree with some, but I respect the structure.
And I respect your honesty. Sincere questions deserve sincere answers. Debate sharpens thought, but manners preserve dignity.
Maybe faith isn't just emotion after all. Maybe it's a kind of discipline I haven't fully understood.
That reflection alone is the beginning of something meaningful. Islam doesn't rush belief. It welcomes hearts at their own pace.
I'll admit, this conversation challenged me more than I expected.
That's what truth often does. It disturbs before it clarifies. I'm honored to have shared this space with you.
Thank you for a respectful and thoughtful discussion. Even if we don't fully agree, I've learned a lot.
And I thank you for engaging sincerely. Dialogue, not victory, is the goal. You've raised important questions.
Perhaps next time we can talk more about ethics, the soul, or even spiritual experiences.
I'd be honored. Our differences don't divide us, they reveal paths to greater understanding.
Until then, peace to you and those who follow clarity.
And peace be upon those who seek truth with patience. Until we speak again, may wisdom guide your steps.
Thanks so much for watching this video on Global Ummah Unity. If you learned something new today, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep uncovering the untold stories of the Islamic world together. See you in the next one, inshallah.